Hi, welcome to the demonstration of Arscadav version 1.3. This version integrates with Ignition using the WebDev module. It doesn't need Tomcat server or the Node.js server unlike its predecessor versions. So this is how a typical main menu of the augmented reality Arscadav package looks like. So it lists your plant, various subsystems of the plant. For example, there could be boiler system, turbine system, generator system, etc. And we have configured a very simple sample system consisting of two virtual tours for, uh, for to serve as a reference for your. This is the simplest possible configuration one can have. So let's have a look at how the navigation works. So to enter a system, we click boiler system and it displays the floor plan. This is again a fictitious floor plan, and by clicking this you can enter the virtual tour of that area of the floor, that particular room. um, and this is the home button. It takes you to the main menu, and this is the up arrow which brings you to this floor plan. This is the top level plan, and what you see here blinking is actually it displays um, alarms in the system, summary of alarms. And by clicking this you enter um, exactly which location on the tour that this particular sensor or actuator is located. We'll come to this later. So to navigate into some section, click on that. So it takes you to that particular section of uh, the plant, and then it has got various. Some of the components are flashing. For example, this is a. That means that this has got some component, and this multi-state indicator. It could be placed on a motor in the status whether it will. This is a bar graph. Again, it will minimize. So this is a meter. Uh, so there is no alarm condition here. Otherwise, it will flash and change the color to red. And this is a cell, a single cell where the parameter can be displayed along with its units and description. And this is uh, a row of table which displays a particular tag value. Uh, Other components are this is a static text, just to can be placed on an equipment to show the description of that equipment. And in addition to that, there are a couple of multimedia components like a video. You can just place a video on this, the video for. If you move the mouse over this, and another component is an HTML page. So it will just open an HTML where you can configure the help for a particular equipment. So we have just kept the video again. So the same video can be kept in a separate file, or you can put a lot of HTML text giving the operation and maintenance procedures for that particular equipment. So these are the various components, and this is the status window showing what is the date and time, etc. And then you can just zoom in, open an image giving a detailed view of a particular equipment. So these are the various components, and then if you click this, you will go back to the floor plan, and And now I can enter another section of the plant. So this is a table. In a tabular format, you can display all the parameters relevant to that particular equipment. So if you, it has got a multiple page options. So and yeah, this is a single page table. There is no navigation possible here. So if I click this, I go back to the main menu. Now I can enter another system. For example, this system, and again this displays the alarm table, which gives summary of alarm configuration outside the limits, permissible limits. So alarm limits can be defined in a tag file. We'll see that. So okay, for this demonstration to give you a reference, we will take a very simple system. So this also has got a floor plan, and it's got only two virtual tours. So if I click this, living room is a residential project. So we can just place component. Again, the same components have been repeated to configure based on your plant specific equipment. You have to place the appropriate component at appropriate places. Now this is the living room, and it's also possible to navigate into the other virtual tour through such navigations. Now I have entered the kitchen area, and again it's got the same type of components, Arscadav component, like scale or a bags or a meter. So this is all explained in the documentation. And it's also got that multimedia component. Now I can go back to this, and these multimedia components are here. Video, and they so in this way you can develop help menus for your operators, and they can visualize and see the parameters. So you can also make it full screen, so operators can navigate into different system, see the values of the parameters, and open certain reference manuals. For example, if there is a alarm, so what to do with the alarm? You can give a symbol here to open a video or to open a HTML file. So all this can be configured. Now we go back to the main menu, and there is so all these different sections of the plant can be navigated like this. So in one system there can be multiple virtual tours. For example, I showed you in the sample system we had two virtual tours. One is the living area, another is the kitchen area. So for example, a boiler system can have maybe about 50 virtual tours for different levels of the boiler, or a turbine area may have another 50 virtual tours for different sections of the turbine area. So you can configure all this, and then there is a documentation page also which gives you how to configure these components on the virtual tours. So basically the components have to be configured through an XML file. So we'll just see briefly how the XML file looks like and how they have to be configured. So okay, so this is how your Arscadav menu will look like, and you can use it as an offline tool also, where operators can familiarize themselves with different sections of the plant and go through the various documentations. And in online mode, they can also see the actual live parameters. And we don't have a control capability for safety reasons. So operator cannot, though it is possible to put some buttons to open, close and operate certain equipment, valves and pumps. But we haven't given that provision in this version because for the safety, for the security purposes. So that's how the Arscadav can be used as a valuable tool for your O&M, operation manual maintenance staff, especially the new people who join in. They can navigate through the plant using this tool and learn about the plant operations. So, okay, so we'll just see how this is configured. So, basically, when you download the Arscadav, it will come with a zip file and you install it anywhere, but I have installed it on the C folder. So it has got this structure. There's a documentation structure and there's a tour folder, documentation folder, which has got the document which I just showed you, and also the project backups which you will use for the installing the eval version, trying it out. There are two versions. One is for the ignition version 1.8.0 and one is for 7.9, because they are, as you know, they are not compatible. We can't import project of 7.9 into 8 and vice versa. So the two versions are kept here. And then that is the tools folder. So these are all the various virtual tours. For example, we had this residential project, which is here. Now it has got subfolders like documentation. Documentation is where you'll keep all your HTML files. And then videos is relevant videos you can keep in this folder. This is recommended structure. And as I said, this residential project is the simplest possible project for your reference. It becomes served as a reference project for you to configure, get started with using this till you get to know all the features of the KR panel, how to configure the XML, etc. So it has got actually 3 virtual tools, but we have configured only 2 out of this. So if you open this, basically this is the virtual, this is the panoramic image. How it looks like. It's a flattened spherical image, and this is rendered in a 3D manner using the KR Pano tool. So the 3 virtual tools they look like this. So this is the kitchen area and the other one was residential. We will navigate between the two. So plan is, I think, yeah, this is the floor plan. I just took some fictitious, it doesn't really represent the floor plan of this residential area, but just to give a concept. And now the most important thing here is these 2 files. There is a tour.xml file and there is a tour.html file. And there is a tag file. Tags is a text file which contains all the ignition tags that belong to this virtual tour. So this is actually in JSON format. Okay, let's start with this. So right now this file has to be written manually, or you can eventually it will be generated through a script, or we will directly pick up this file using the script. Right now it is made. So basically this JSON or a dictionary, Python dictionary, has got this structure. We have to give all the tags, the fully tag paths of each tag, and it supports only atomic tags. It doesn't support arrays or UDTs, etc. So the atomic tags, you have to give the tag name, exact fully qualified tag name. But that, what is the type of that? It could be float, or it could be an integer, or it could be boolean, or a string. So it has to have a value f or I for integer, b for boolean, s for string. And the definition, the units, in fact these are all available in the tag data metadata tag database. We can pick it up from there, but in this version right now it is manually given, but we can rate it. Now this, the width is basically the format. What's the field width when you print on the screen? What should be the total uh, text to be displayed for the value, and how many decimals you should have, 2 decimal or single decimal or no decimals. And conditions is another array which defines the alarm limits. So we have to give an array. First you have condition, what is the condition and what is the limits, and what is the status or the label to be displayed for that particular state. So value, whenever value of this tag meeting this condition, so for the first condition is state is state 0, for which there is no condition, and then state 1, if the value is greater than 75, limit is 75, and the label for that state is high. If the tag is above 80, its label is high, and its state will be start with 0, 1, 2. Like that you can define up to 10 states for every tag, and this condition from left to right, and all the conditions are evaluated. So and one more thing is required is we have give links, that is when this tag is in an alarm state and one wants to see where exactly the tag appears in the virtual tours, so we have to list all the places which scene name, each tour is called a scene and it has got a name in the XML. So in which XML it is defined, and which component is a plugin or a hotspot defined on the virtual tour using the XML. We'll have a look at that, and each component has to be given a unique name. It could be scale or table. So our virtual tour may have multiple such components and it has to have a unique name. So here we have to give the component name and a virtual tour name where this tag is defined, so that if this tag is shown in alarm condition and user clicks on that alarm table, directly that tag that was opened, and that particular component comes in the center of the screen. So a tag could appear in multiple screens and but we are you can give one of them, one you have to specify. So this tag structure, this repeats for all the tags that will appear, that may appear in one of the virtual tours of a particular system or a subsystem. So the list could be maybe 100, 200 variables or tags, because when one virtual tour is on, only those tags are acquired from ignition and displayed. So this is the structure of the tag. So I'll close this. So the tags file is in this folder, and yeah, so that's all about. Okay, now we have to see the the XML, how the project has to be configured. Yeah, basically we have taken, this is where our components will start. There's some initial configuration, uh, like you have to define the scene name and the title of the scene, and where, when it opens, where, which horizontal vertical angle it should look at the time of opening. So okay, this can be just copied as it is, but this is where our configuration of the plugin start. Status window. So we have to specify uh, the name of the component which is there in the view folder. So there is a viewer folder which contains some common things for the all the virtual tools. They don't have to be configured by you for your project. So some KR Pano tools and the embedded Arscadav interface, all these files are there in this. And this is a folder where all the components are defined. So you don't have to do anything here. Only one place what you have to do is, only this file is where you have to define your project. What is the host name, what is the project name, and what is the port number, and what is the default tag file. That is, if one doesn't specify the tag file, this will be the file used, that is C:, and we have to give 4 slashes, and this is the directory and the file name. Okay, now this will come to the XML, that is the virtual tour configuration file. Now this is our component status window, which is basically the screen which comes on the right corner. This is the one. So we have to configure this. We can minimize this, which is shown here, status window, and we have given a unique name, and this is the plugin name. So this remains same if you have multiple such window. In every virtual tour we have to have one status window. Then there is a cursor position. So basically, while you want to place this component at some coordinates, this is the cursor position symbol. So it tells you if you want, suppose keep a component here, so you can, this shows dynamically the XY coordinates with respect to the corner, top left corner, and the horizontal and vertical polar coordinates, 3D coordinates. So if suppose I have to keep a component here, so I click here. So these XY coordinates and HV coordinates have to be noted down, and they can be put in the XML file here. For example, here, sorry, these are added as plugins. If it is a hotspot, then you have to give the horizontal vertical coordinates. If it's a plugin, you have to give XY coordinates. So this is the cursor position component we have to keep during development purpose phase. Now this plugin is basically a PNG file, which is this component. Now we get rid of the cursor like this. Now this is a PNG file, PNG image, which is there in one of the folders. So we have to give the path of that. PNG is there in the same folder, main folder, and it has to be aligned at top left corner of the screen, and it's XY coordinates, and you can give a scale, etc. Now basically a plugin is something which is fixed. For example, this is a plugin, this is added as a plugin, whereas these two are added as, oh, for this, sorry, here in this these two are also plugins, but if you enter a scene, all these components which rotate with the screen, all these, they're all added keyword hot. That means they'll rotate with the screen. Whereas if you add the component as a plugin, then it remains static with XY coordinates, with respect to the XY coordinates. So yeah, this component is nothing but the floor plan of, that is what we see here. Yeah, this screen basically, this image, and the background is just a grid, empty grid. There is no virtual tour there. So this floor plan is added as an image and aligned top left with XY coordinates, and then we have defined two hotspots. Hotspots are given again with the X as a plugin, so they remain static. There's basically these two hotspots, and by clicking this we navigate into the one of the virtual tours. So that is given here on click, load scene and the name of the scene. Similarly, hotspot 2, on click it calls a krpano function. So this you will get used to it with a little bit of practice, but this is a sample system for you to get started with only very simple two navigations. And then this is the home button. So this has to be configured as a plugin at top left corner and at 00 coordinates. If you don't specify anything, it will take it as 00. And you have to give on click, you have to call a function. You have to copy this basically as it is in your system. So, and another component is the back button. Again, you have to call load scene main grid. Main grid is the one which we have defined here. So this is how we have configured the first screen. And the first screen also has a component called alarm table, which is basically this. So this is a screen, this is a menu which is shown in minimized state, and it shows how many number of alarms are there. If there is an alarm in the system, that is whatever tags are configured here, if any of them is violating the limits, then it will show blinking. If you click, these are the tags which are out of range. So if I click onto this, it will take me to that screen, that virtual tour, and that component will come in the center. This was the component that was violating. That's how we have configured in the tag file which I showed you. Okay, and this is the alarm table. So this can be kept only on the top, that is the floor plan. So this is the end of this scene which defines the main grid. There is a main menu. Now we have to configure the second virtual tour or second scene, where you give it name and title. There are two different things, and which is the image. What we saw, 2-3 images. This is spherical image. So the krpano supports different formats. It could be spherical, it could be cubic strip, or cylindrical, different formats it supports. So there's all krpano stuff, you'll get used to it. And then this is what we have configured our component. We've got a hotspot, and on clicking that, it will take us to the load scene kitchen. So this scene name is living room. We have another scene here. This scene ends here. Then we have another scene called kitchen. So we navigate between the two scenes by such command. Here on click load scene, it will take us to the living room. And these are the video hotspots, where you just copy this as it is in your projects and change some of the properties, like change name of the videos and things like that. Yeah, so this is the bar component, and this is the meter component. So this is how it is configured, and we have to specify the vertical, horizontal angles, 3D angles, and specify different the border color, the what is the tag. This is how where we do the binding, the fully qualified tag path we have to give from our tag file, and other properties like the font size and all that. So this is how the configuration is done. So with this, your sample system, you're basically able to enter into a partition and then see the various properties of which is, and flashing indicates it's out of limit. And what you have to do when such alarm conditions are there can be configured through videos or through some HTML files, which will just pop up or open in a new tab, and users can browse through. And then with this you can go up, then get into different sections. This is how we can configure quite complex virtual tours. For example, if you take a turbine system, it has got 4 virtual tours. This again, all this is fictitious just to show the concept. And you can also have navigation. It takes you. So this is a hotspot. It will take you to the next section. So this is how you can. There are various ways in which you navigate. I think that's more or less we have covered the brief demo of how to use this package and how to configure it briefly. So more and more you practice, you will get the hang of it. So, and this version 1.3 also comes with a demo version. So if you look at there's a web dev module where it'll once you import a project, it'll automatically get copied here, and then you have to open the then when you start the ignition, and on the network you have to give the this path, name of the host, port name, project name, and all this. The system list is configured as a simple HTML file, which is right in the main menu. System list. This is what is the first main menu. You have to configure this. This is pretty simple. You can your own style guides you can have, and configuring HTML is nowadays almost mandatory. Everyone should know. So it should be difficult for you to get resources to do that. So I think that's all about it. This version 1.3 comes with a eval version also. So we will give you the link from where you can download it, and please feel free to. And there's an introductory offer for this for a limited period, and yeah, and whatever you configure during evaluation, and yes, evaluation version works for a limited period, and then you have to restart and usual stuff. So, and whatever work you do during evaluation can be saved and salvaged once you get the license version.